and more. Second, has Donald Trump finally lost patience with Vladimir Putin? If yes, what are going to be its consequences in Europe? Are we already facing a ricochet? Do we have a foreign policy challenge to handle? And third, did Pakistan dupe the International Monetary Fund with a sugar scam? Is the fund's diversion proof that Pakistan is hoodwinking the world? Let's get going.
ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ हे सच्चे पातशाह ਧੰਨ ਧੰਨ श्री गुरु ग्रंथ साहिब महाराज जीओ आप जी की कृपा सदका अज दासां ते मेहर हो रही है। आप कृपा कर रहे हो इस पवित्र सदन पंजाब विधान सभा के मैंबर साहबान ते जिन्हां नूं आप जी के प्यारे लोकां वल्लों मतदान करके इस सदन दे विच कानून घड़न लई भेजा गया है।
These pictures are from Monday when the Punjab Assembly met to discuss a new bill on blasphemy or sacrilege or beadbi as it is called there, making Punjab the first state in the country to have a specific anti-blasphemy law. Called the Prevention of Offences Against Holy Scriptures Bill 2025, the proposed law slaps a stiff ₹10 lakh fine and life in jail on conviction for the acts that amount to blasphemy for any religion. The offences shall be cognizable, non-bailable and non-compoundable and would only be tried at Sessions Court level. While there's a provision for punishing similar acts that attack or lower the dignity of any religion in the National Criminal Law, both in the present Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita and its earlier avatar, the Indian Penal Code, the Punjab government of Bhagwant Mann thought the punishment specified was not stringent enough. Hence, the bill provides for a minimum of 10 years of jail term and a maximum of life on conviction against the BNS's provision of 3 years and 7 years respectively. In fact, it's not just the Mann government of the Aam Aadmi Party. There's a consensus cutting across the political divide that the state should have this law. Punjab's politics has revolved around the issue of blasphemy and sacrilege for a good decade now. The Shiromani Akali Dal or SAD and the BJP coalition government had sought to bring a similar law in 2016, seeking to amend the then Indian Penal Code, specific to Punjab. The draft bill, however, did not pass the muster with the Union Law Ministry, given it singled out one religion, Sikhism. Subsequently, the Captain Amrinder Singh government also brought a similar legislation amending the Akali draft to include other religions. Even this lapsed, and the Captain government made way for the AAP-led Mann government. In the backdrop of this legal scramble was an incident reported from Bargari town of Faridkot district in October of 2015, in which torn pages from the Guru Granth Sahib were found strewn around fields and floating in a canal. In Sikhism, the Granth Sahib is not just a scripture, not just the embodiment of the teachings of the faith, but is considered the living Guru. The pages are considered parts of the Guru's body, or angs. And so the Bargari sacrilege hit a raw nerve. Protests erupted and police action led to the death of 2 Sikh youth. The accused were found to have connections with a sect called Dera Sacha Sauda of Gurmeet Ram Rahim, a self-styled Guru with influence in Haryana, Punjab and parts of western Uttar Pradesh. But he is now serving a jail term in connection with a murder and rape case. I don't want to digress. Just to give you a measure of how strong the sentiments are in Punjab on the issue of sacrilege or beadbi. One of the accused was assassinated inside jail by 2 prisoners. Another was shot dead outside by the Goldie Brar gang. And a third accused had his father killed while he serves a jail term. Essentially, because of the nature of Granth Sahib's treatment as the living embodiment of the Guru for the Sikhs, the tolerance towards sacrilege is very low. Not for nothing that at 7 times higher than the national average, Punjab sits on top in terms of registered blasphemy or sacrilege cases in the country. In many instances, reports of sacrilege have led to mob lynchings of the accused, with the Sikh clergy of the SGPC or the Shiromani Gurdwara Prabandhak Committee even honoring the vigilantes. During the farm protests, for example, on the outskirts of Delhi in 2021, a Dalit Sikh youth identified as Lakhbir Singh was lynched by Nihangs on suspicion of sacrilege. His body hung from a barricade at the protest site of Singhu border. The three Nihangs were honored with saropas. Punjab politics in the last decade has had the blasphemy overhang over both the 2017 and 2022 assembly elections. Both elections turned anti-incumbent, with the Sukhbir government giving way to the Captain Amrinder Singh government and the Captain's government passing on to the present Aam Aadmi Party government. Both Sukhbir Singh Badal and Captain were seen as ineffective in dealing with the issue. For the historical Akali links with the SGPC, Sukhbir, in fact, has faced additional brunt to the extent of getting excommunicated from the faith. These pictures are from the day-long punishment for the former Chief Minister of Punjab at the Akal Takht inside the Golden Temple last year, when even an attempt on his life was made. Sukhbir had sent the case to the CBI hoping that would get the monkey off his back. But it did not pacify the sentiments. The Captain government brought the investigation back, set up 2 or 3 SITs and made some arrests, but never could recover from inertia of early days in government on the issue. So far, so good. Sentiments need respected. Democracy is about greater common good, and taking care of the spiritual commons is part of the exercise. But as they say, road to hell is paved with good intentions. We cannot lose sight of the special history of Punjab and its unfortunate run-in with religion-based politics. It is a border state with an ongoing and entrenched Pakistani project to disturb the delicate communal peace. One of the accused of the Bargari case was killed by sharpshooters hired by Goldie Brar, who we know is Canada-based these days, and along with other gangs connected to the Khalistan project of the ISI. In the last 2 years, Punjab has seen at least a dozen odd cases, if not more, of murder, extortion, communal incitement, with the investigations unraveling linkages to the same Pakistan, Khalistan, ISI machinations. And since it's about Pakistan, we need not look further to understand what an unwise blasphemy act can do. Pakistan got its own during the General Zia era that led to Pakistan to a spiral of radicalism and extremism that has made it the world capital of blasphemy cases and blasphemy-related lynchings. On Monday, when the Speaker rose for that ardas in Punjab Assembly, only to forget that the legislators were in shoes and the heads were not covered, he had to apologize. And the next day, the House did the ardas again, this time with the prayer protocol in place.
अरदास करिए और अपने सिर ढक लो और जूते भी उतार लो.
It is almost as if the lawmakers are in a stupor, gripped with some fear. The bill has been sent to a select committee for a comprehensive vetting. This seems like a good move and an opportunity to put the blasphemy law to a rigorous test of reasonableness. We sure don't want our Punjab to go the Pakistan way. Moving on.
We will send them patriots, which they desperately need, because Putin really surprised a lot of people. He talks nice and then he bombs everybody in the evening. So there's a little bit of a problem there, and I don't like it. Well, we're going to see what happens with President Putin. So far, I've been very disappointed with President Putin. I've solved a lot of wars in the last 3 months, but I haven't gotten this one yet. This is a Biden war. It's not a Trump war. I'm here to try and get us out of that mess.
We are very unhappy, I am, with Russia, but we'll discuss that maybe a different day. But we're very, very unhappy with them, and we're going to be doing very severe tariffs, and would like to see it end. It wasn't my war, it was Biden's war. It's not my war. I'm trying to get you out of it. And we want to see it end. And I'm disappointed in President Putin because I thought we would have had a deal 2 months ago, but it doesn't seem to get there.
This is Donald Trump clearly running out of patience with Russian President Vladimir Putin. And like in all things Trump, he does not mince words. He is unsatisfied, he is unhappy, and perhaps under his necktie, a little itching to have a go at Putin. The reason for this frustration is Trump having made it a prestige issue to end the war in Europe. His entire campaign was about ending the war on day one of his presidency. We are already in month 6, and there are no signs of the end of Putin's war in Ukraine. If anything, last month marked a peak in the intensity of the conflict, with both sides launching major drone and missile campaigns against each other. Let's play some earlier sound bites of Trump on Putin for contrast.
Vladimir Putin made some very nice statements today. Look, he respects our country again. He didn't respect it a year ago, I can tell you right now. He actually was very nice. He volunteered help on, as you know, on Iran. I said, no, I don't need help on Iran. I need help on Russia. Okay? I said, do me a favor. Help us on Russia, not on Iran. But he was very nice. I've had very good talks with Putin, and I've had not such good talks with Ukraine. They don't have any cards, but they play it tough. Getting along with Russia is a good thing, not a bad thing. If Putin likes me, and if he thinks I'm a good, smart person, which I mean, I hope he believes it. I am. Actually, he's right. I am brilliant. You know that, right? But you know what? If he says something positive, that's a good thing. That's not a bad thing. They try and turn it around, and it's not to be turned around. This is good. This would be a great start.
Now you know from where this frustration is coming. Having tried in right earnest and in good faith to get Putin and Zelenskyy to pull back from the war, Trump is not liking that the duo have made a mockery of his art of the deal. Ultimately, it's Europe's war, of Europe's choosing. Remember, there's a deep, deep state not interested in having a peaceful relationship with Moscow. They need a villain to keep up the military budgets, to keep up the expansion of NATO. In earlier episodes, I have brought to you how a visceral hate for Putin guides most of the Western elites. Trump has been an exception, and perhaps that's why he's failing. It is in this backdrop that Trump had a little subdued stance on NATO this week. It was with the NATO chief Mark Rutte by his side that Trump launched that salvo at Putin.
We are very unhappy, I am, with Russia, but we'll discuss that maybe a different day. But we're very, very unhappy with them, and we're going to be doing very severe tariffs, and would like to see it end. It wasn't my war, it was Biden's war. It's not my war. I'm trying to get you out of it. And we want to see it end. And I'm disappointed in President Putin, because I thought we would have had a deal 2 months ago, but it doesn't seem to get there.
America has agreed to supply Patriot missile systems to Ukraine, paid for by NATO. Reports even suggested that Trump asked Zelenskyy if he could hit Moscow if the Americans provided enough firepower. This reportedly happened during a July 4 phone call between the two, a day after Trump had had a 90-minute phone call with Putin and had failed to get the Russian president to make any concessions. What's in it for us, as I always ask? Immediately after coming out of that meeting with Trump, Mark Rutte fired a fresh salvo on BRICS. But his singling out of India was a first from a European leader. Listen to him.
If Russia is not serious about peace talks, within 50 days he will slam secondary sanctions on countries like India, China and Brazil. So my encouragement to these 3 countries particularly is, if you live now in Beijing or in Delhi, or you are the president of Brazil, you might want to take a look into this, because this might hit you very hard. So please make the phone call to Vladimir Putin and tell him that he has to get serious about peace talks, because otherwise this will slam back on Brazil, on India and on China.
What Rutte is saying in diplomacy amounts to a threat. He's asking India or Prime Minister Modi, to be specific, to pick up the phone and tell Putin to back off in Ukraine. Equal parts foolish and preposterous, but also a measure of how run out of ideas the West has become in responding to Russia. In their hearts, they know all the Patriot missiles and other weapon systems are not going to turn the tide of war in favor of Ukraine. Still, they want to persist. And in doing so, they are willing to embroil India in the mess. The Rathi comment was strong enough to get an Indian response.
Securing energy needs of our people is understandably an overriding priority for us. In this endeavor, we are guided by what is there on offer in the markets, as also by the prevailing global circumstances. We would particularly caution against any double standards on the matter.
This tough talk notwithstanding, situation is building up in DC. The manner in which Senator Lindsey Graham, for example, a known India baiter on the Capitol, has been pushing for a bill that would impose 500% tariffs and other sanctions on nations doing business with Moscow is part of the continuum. And Lindsey Graham is seconded by Trump.
Well, I know the bill. I've studied the bill. We're going to see. I mean, if I think Russia will not be making a deal or stopping the bloodshed, 5 and 6 even. I've been saying 5 and 6, and now it's more. 1,000 a week, soldiers being killed, and people being killed. Not just soldiers, people being killed, but largely soldiers being killed. Yeah, I'd use it if it's necessary. And they've really given me that option.
Are you trying to get the Senate to water it down, though?
No, I haven't spoken to them about it. They have a bill that's going to be up to me. It's my option. They've made it that way, and it would save a lot of time if that happened. So I'm okay with it. I haven't decided to use it. It's a very strong bill.
Trump is likely to even oblige Pakistan with a visit, according to many Pakistani media reports that emerged this week. If that happens, it would be a first in over 2 decades that an American president would be visiting Islamabad. We are in a pincer. The Modi government's lofty objective of strategic autonomy comes with challenges to surmount. The present scenario is the best example of that. China suspects we are getting too close to their rival, United States. America thinks we are not doing enough with them to contain China. Europe is annoyed that New Delhi's oil purchases from Russia are part bankrolling Putin's war. But that's a small price to pay if we see the long-term benefits of this autonomy. It is easy to be a Pakistan, to loan your sovereignty, to compromise financial dignity, to let China run your foreign office from behind the curtains, to let America occasionally bomb your mountains, to let IMF and World Bank give you debt with the strings attached. India has chosen the difficult path, and we need to stay the course. That brings me to the last segment, how Pakistan is hoodwinking the world community yet again, specifically Donald Trump.
आज के समय में पाकिस्तान को किसी भी तरह की आर्थिक सहायता टेरर फंडिंग से कम नहीं है। भारत यही चाहेगा कि IMF पाकिस्तान को अपनी $1 बिलियन की असिस्टेंस पर वह पुनर्विचार करे और आगे भी किसी भी तरह की सहायता देने से IMF परहेज करे।
This was Defense Minister Rajnath Singh taking a tough position against International Monetary Fund's bailout of Pakistan right in the middle of India's Operation Sindoor in the month of May. Pakistan Terror Factory had carried out the most dastardly and diabolical terrorist strike in Pahalgam in Jammu and Kashmir on April 22. India hit back on May 6-7. As if to rub salt to the wounds, the IMF sanctioned a tranche of $2.3 billion loan to Islamabad on May 10 amid the ongoing standoff. While this was part of an already approved loan of $7 billion in 2024, the fact that it came when India was telling the world we were victims of terror showed how callous the powers behind IMF were being. Now it so emerges that what Rajnath Singh said was 100% true, that Pakistan has been nonchalantly diverting funds meant for stabilizing its economy to splurge on its army, terror organizations, and in the latest instance, even to buy sugar it cannot afford. Look at this joker country. Early this year, the Pakistan government let 700,000 plus metric tons of sugar be exported. That led to a shortfall in supplies, with sugar prices shooting the roof and selling for rupees 200 a kilo. For perspective, In India, it ranges between rupees 40 to 50 a kilo. Accounting for currency exchange rate, this should still mean rupees 80 to 100 in Pakistan. But it's at double the price. Do you see a scam? Let me explain. So the sugar shortfall was artificially created by Pakistan deciding to export. Obviously, someone took a cut. When prices rose, Pakistan government did an about turn. A decision was taken to import sugar now. Imagine, after having exported 700,000 plus metric ton sugar early this year, now Pakistan issued a tender to import 500,000 metric tons of the same commodity. Not only that, but the government decided to waive all import duties so that people could get cheaper price point. That's where the IMF comes into the picture. One of the conditions imposed during the May bailout was that Pakistan was barred from non-program utilization of funds. Import of sugar amounts to just that. Moreover, the duties waiver is against the conditions imposed to maintain fiscal discipline. IMF financing was aimed at helping Pakistan tide over its balance of payments situation. The IMF disbursements go to Pakistan's central bank and not to the government. The central bank cannot loan a single penny from the IMF funds to the Pakistani government. Obviously, IMF objected, in response to which Pakistan reduced the import volume from original 500,000 to just 50,000 tons this week, thus directly admitting to the breach. Which means that someone in Pakistan is doing this jugglery of funds, siphoning from central bank, giving it to the government, or channelizing to some other accounts. There's for sure a scam. Recently, when the Financial Action Task Force, the FATF, reviewed Pakistan's money laundering status, it was found that every year that it has taken loans from either the IMF or the World Bank between 1980 to 2023, Pakistan's defense purchases have spiked by up to 20%, thus clearly connecting financial aid with funds diversion. This is important in the light of what I said in the earlier segment. The reports that President Trump might be making a pit stop in Islamabad later this year could be directly connected with this funds diversion. Remember how in earlier episodes we have shown linkages between Trump family-run crypto business via the firm World Liberty Financial and Pakistan's recent moves to become a safe haven for these unstable digital assets. If Trump goes to Pakistan, then it would be indicative of back to Kissinger-Nixon days for us vis-a-vis the United States. It is clear Trump is not happy with India's tough negotiations on trade deal, with dairy and genetically modified crops becoming a no-go area for the US trade team. This is clearly a case of the pincer, a test of India's resolve to practice strategic autonomy. We are in it together, the entire nation. Thanks for watching.
भारत की अपनी दुकान इंडिया सोना,
अपने देश का सामान
इंडिया सोना, इंडिया सोना,
इंडिया सोना।
आधे बाउल दही में 4 चम्मच MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला डाला, स्टर करो, पुदीना चटनी तैयार। MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला।
केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे, केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ।
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
MDH की हल्दी मिर्ची धनिया करे कमाल, ये रंग दे, ये खुशबू दे, ये तीखा, ये कम पड़े, क्या निराला MDH मसाला।
This morning, 2 a.m. in Los Angeles, our firefighters were dispatched out to a traffic accident. On arrival, they found a large group of people standing outside of a club. There's a taco truck there, and apparently a vehicle had driven through the taco truck, through the valet, and into the crowd.